Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Spectrum Drama, where we take a look at the hottest posts on Spectrum for the week and give our opinions on them. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell, do all that good stuff if you want to get some more Star Citizen content from us, and if you want to help the channel, that would be really awesome. And that's it, let's get started. Okay, so first up we've got a post from Smash Brown, and it says, do you genuinely think we have professions in game right now? That was my best impression of a question mark. So basically, Smash Brown is reading through the chairman's letter, and he came across a part where he actually choked on his coffee. He says, now this comment is either marketing, PR, BS, or delusional fantasy. We have extremely basic, buggy, and bland at best implementations of the careers and exploration. So basically, the long and short of it is, Chris Roberts put out a little thing where he said, and I quote, "We're not stopping there. We already have the professions of other space games right now in 3.11: exploration, hauling, trading, mercenary, outlaw, bounty hunting, and mining. We have big plans for salvage, repair, medical, data running, farming, and manufacturing/crafting. But if we just took the time to finish the existing professions and polish them, Star Citizen would have no rival." Now, that's rubbish. It's just utter delusional rubbish. You cannot class hauling, yeah, okay, it can be a profession. Bounty hunting, kind of, but they are so in their infancy. You can't class them as professions yet, can you?
Not really. Trading is not in the game. I don't care what you think trading is. What you think trading is not what trading is in the game yet.
No.
Going up to a random console, moving a slider, and then flying off to a different console to press the slider again is not trading. Trading is actually trading resources between players, negotiating prices and trying to make that profit. Trading is not in the game.
No, it's like a mini game, if that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exploration is not in the game. I get the impression that he's referring to maybe delving down caves as exploration. Yeah. Maybe, but I mean that's like a tiny chunk of really what the player base wants as exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot in this statement which doesn't sit right with me. But on the other hand, I can't really agree 100% with Smash Brown. I don't think it's PR bullshit. And I don't really think it's delusional fantasy. What I think it is just Chris Roberts being the eternal optimist that he actually is. I think he just kind of inflates them based on his optimism, and that's it. I don't think it's delusional. I just think he's maybe exaggerating them a little bit. But there's a lot of his supposed professions, which in 3.11. They're not in there. They never have been.
No, I fully agree. I mean, I definitely agree that, I don't think this is marketing bullshit or delusional fantasies. I think this is genuinely, like you said, it is the way Chris Roberts looks at this game. He sees far more in it than we do. Maybe that's because he's designing it but not playing it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you can't call them professions because people do make tons of money off it. But so in a way, yes, fair enough. Like bounty hunting and mining and hauling can be classed as professions because you can be a professional at making money at them. But in terms of other games, they're definitely not professions, and there's just not enough gameplay surrounding them for them to be a full-time profession for someone.
No.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, Smash Brown, that this entire sort of sentence that Chris Roberts has said is rubbish. It really is. It's optimistic rubbish. But yeah, I also do agree with Chris Roberts that you can see the seed of what he's got in mind, and I think that he just embellishes a little bit in his mind how good these things maybe are. I don't know. Yeah,
I think the only like main profession in Star Citizen at the moment is mining. Other than that, it's quite bare bones, really. Outlaw gameplay, is really just doing some missions that give you a crime stat. I mean, there is no real outlaw gameplay as such. Same thing with bounty hunting. Bounty hunting is just shooting the guy that's got a marker above his head. I mean, that's not bounty hunting in my book. That's just shooting a marked player. That's different.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. It's hunting because you hunt them and you kill them. But, bounty hunting in everyone's imagination is, capturing someone, putting them in a pod, taking them back to somewhere, earn some money, and they get carted off somewhere, God knows where, to have something happen to them. That's bounty hunting to me. I don't know. Yeah. It's mad. It is mad. You said mining, and I agree. Mining is probably the only actual profession that we've got, and it is actually a very, very good mechanic. So for people who that is their chosen profession in the future, they're kind of quids in at the minute because it is really the most well-rounded kind of mechanic in the game for a profession, and it's fun. It's quite fun, but it's the after mining that worries me. You basically back to this trading thing where you just essentially land somewhere, slider, press a button, done. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to. There's no common sense when it comes to trading, and there's no kind of like picking the right time or trying to get one up on anyone or haggling any of that stuff. It's just I've got the stuff and then I press the button and now I have some money.
The whole refining and selling the minerals is going to be sort of linked into industry or trading gameplay. But like you said, the actual mining gameplay itself is actually quite well rounded, well thought out, well implemented, and is the fullest gameplay that we've got in the verse. There is no real argument about it. There's always room for improvement. There's ways they can iterate on this or improve certain aspects of it, but as an actual gameplay element, it's the most rounded one we've got at the moment. That they've really focused on it a lot this year, and I really hope that they turn that focus onto something else. I'm actually quite surprised that mining has been quite a focal point for CIG this year, considering that, as far as I'm aware, mining doesn't even come into Squadron 42. So they've actually, assigned developers and time for them to develop this mechanic, even though it's got nothing to do with Squadron 42.
Yeah.
So why not something else?
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. You would have thought, given that they've told us so time and time again that, the majority of their resources are set to Squadron 42 related stuff. It does seem really weird.
Yeah, unless it's mining. Yeah, that gets a free pass for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason. Maybe because they knew that it would be an easy-ish implementation, and they knew that the majority of people would enjoy it. Because I suppose even though I don't see myself in this game as a miner, it is still quite fun. It's almost like a little mini game in itself, but you have to have a little bit of skill or you'll blow yourself up. So they've kind of hit it really well with mining. But yeah, it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing to focus on first. Cool. So next up, we've got a post from the infamous John Bradley, and it says, Squadron 42 terrifies me. So I'm going to gist this as best I can because it's very, very long and I recommend you read it. But basically, the long and short of this is John Bradley is terrified of the language and the tone that's used when relating to Squadron 42. Whenever CIG address Squadron 42, it is always a kind of a possibly and a potential, and they and eventually they never commit. They never use kind of words that commit to anything, which is worrying when you think how close we are supposed to be to a beta. that everything's still so vague. And I think that is essentially what is pissing John off, is just that we're so close and yet we feel so far, because everything is possibly coming out and potentially this. It's just a strange way to be, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, they haven't really addressed the elephant in the room, have they, really? It's clearly obvious to everyone. This was obvious like 6 months ago, I think, that Squadron 42 was never going to be released into the internal beta like they hoped it would be.
Yeah.
That much was obvious to a lot of people. And it was called out, like I said, a long time ago. The current theory at the moment is that it's going to be this time next year.
Yeah.
Do we think that is actually going to happen? That's the question.
Yeah. I think everyone's in that kind of frame of mind where, you know, when they say things like eventually, you know, it's almost like saying, you know, never. It feels like that now. We've kind of got to that point where, you know, everything just feels like it's never going to get done. And I think that the problem with Squadron 42 as well is that they needed to, like you said, address the elephant in the room a long time ago. They needed to get behind this when it first became a problem, and when people started noticing and thinking this isn't going to work. And now we've surpassed that. We're beyond the point of no return, and you know there's still no real definitive answer from them. And it's just so bizarre that a company can keep us in the dark about this product that everyone's waiting so desperately for, and not feel any. I swear they don't feel any kind of pressure. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking bizarre, really bizarre.
Yeah, it seems like we've got two types of people in the community at the moment. There's the people that are kind of getting fed up with this. No timeline, no hint at when things are going to kind of be ready, or lack of progress, whatever you want to call it. And then you've got the other people which are, they don't care. They've thrown thousands in. They don't care. It comes out when it comes out. Everything's fine. Now, I personally squarely put myself in the first bracket. I'm getting a little bit tired of the lack of anything, really. I don't want to rag on CIG. I know they're doing the best that they can do. What they have built so far is really good. Maybe I'm just getting a bit long in the tooth for all this. It does seem to be dragging on, and the way that they really don't address any kind of real concern in the community, like with this whole Squadron 42, the game, the Squadron 42 video, the roadmap to the roadmap, all the features that are meant to be in the PU, like iCache, server meshing, everything. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's starting to grate on me a little bit, and I can definitely see why it's starting to grate on John Bradley as well.
Yeah, and I mean, he says here, I truly believe Chris has been honest and meant everybody said, and we believe that too.
Yeah.
You know, we genuinely feel that he's not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. He's not trying to pull a fast one. I think he's so passionate and he believes so intently that these things will happen, but he doesn't maybe fully understand the impact of what he's asking people to do in such a short time frame. And then when it can't be done, they go turtle mode and just pull their head in and hope for the best, you know. And that's the worst possible way you can deal with these sorts of things. And I'm in the same boat. I've gotten to that point now where I love this game, but been a backer for years. But there's you've got to do the obligatory this game fidelity. Doesn't matter what you say. Currently, this game is hemorrhaging long-term backers. Don't get me wrong; they're not disappearing. They've not given up on the project. They're just taking a break. And the fact of the matter is that if the game is at such a a state, and the development is in such a state where these long-term hardcore backers are having to sort of like put down their mouse and keyboard and step away, you know, for a patch or two, then yeah, they've got a serious problem. And you know, we said we weren't going to talk about this. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we can't. We tried. We did it for 1 week, but we're back again. And you know, they need to address this situation. They need to let us know what's going on, and they need to keep us in the loop. Otherwise, they are going to end up with a game full of noobs who don't know how to play it, and a bunch of really, really pissed off, hardcore, old people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a highly upvoted comment here from Tesseract, which also points a light on probably the biggest problem with this whole situation is that there's the sentiment within CIG and with Chris Roberts that this game will be done when it is done. They will not compromise on anything. They want their vision to be a reality. Now, the problem is that we are funding this. So let's say, for argument's sake, this takes another 10 years to go into beta. That means that's another 10 years of funding from the community. Does he really expect the community to keep shelling money out for something that never materialises?
No, eventually it's going to feel like a con.
Yes, that's really the biggest problem. And then you start turning all the haters that say that Star Citizen is a scam into truth sayers.
Yeah, proving them right.
Yeah, it is worrying. I completely agree with John Bradley and Tesseract that it is highly worrying of that statement. While on one hand I do agree with it, well, I don't think they should really cut corners. I think they should make the game that they set out to make. But on the other hand, I don't think they can really expect the community to keep funding this. No,
and they won't. You know, eventually it's going to get to that point where we get too long in the tooth, and we think, you know, I don't want to give this man any more of my money. You know, even if you believe in them and you could see the potential, there's only so long you can fund something with not zero return. That's mean, because there is a game and it is pretty awesome. But do you know what I mean? Without significant steps forward, you know, you wouldn't do it in other walks of life. And I just don't see why he would expect us to continue to do this until he's happy. You know, he needs to do it until we're happy, because we're the one giving him the money.
Yeah, I'm with you. But like I said, there's two groups of players here. There's the group that are getting pissed off with this, and there's the other group which don't care, and they will keep shoveling money in. So maybe it can just kind of limp along on the real diehard fans that see no evil and hear no evil.
Yeah.
But
do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know what I foresee? Right. So this is my prediction. There's two ways this will go then, because we've got these two different types of backers. So it's either going to come to it where there's enough of a revolt where they realise, look, we are going to have to get this thing done, and they knuckle down and they put out the best they can at a certain time frame. We're happy, everyone's playing games, it's amazing. And then there's the second timeline, which is essentially what you were saying there, where it limps along. So basically all the hardcore backers, or the majority of the backers, kind of pull out over time. Their funding dries up to the point where they're just getting kind of a shell of what they used to have, you know, and then they end up having to actively limp along to develop this game, and it goes on for years and years, and it either dies or they release a kind of buggy mess as a released final game because it's the best they can do because they've run out of money. Those are my two predictions. So, and it's scary to think of that second one. So,
yeah. I should just clarify that my whole argument about it coming, you know, for argument's sake, it coming out in 10 years, more realistically pointing towards the PU rather than Squadron 42. I think there's more people looking for for the PU rather than Squadron 42. as it stands. And let's be real, Squadron 42 is going to last you, I don't know, a couple of weeks gameplay probably. And then you're going to hit the end of episode 1, or whatever they're calling it now. And then you're going to be waiting around for episode 2 or more PU. And that kind of defaults back to the argument again.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll clarify your clarification with the clarification. That's basically what I meant as well. I think I do get easily confused. I am referring to Star Citizen as a whole, not just Squadron 42. Squadron 42 will come out eventually in a beta because, it will. It's an easier thing to get finished. But I can definitely foresee the PU being a bit of a nightmare for years and years to come. So, but we all have to just believe in our Lord and Saviour Chris Roberts and just hope for the best, I suppose. Okay, so next up we've got a post from Fantox, and it says, why I decided against completing the Vandal helmet challenge. So overall, Fantox is a big fan of challenges that allow him to earn exclusive items through gameplay. We've said this before, that's what we really wanted, was the ability to, earn stuff in game. But there is an issue with this. This particular Vandal helmet challenge is it's a tricky one because it's a murder quest. Basically, you just have to kill a certain number of people, unique people, in a particular ship. It sounds simple, but when you're in a server where obviously you don't run into that many people, what you end up with is a large group of people all around Grimhex fighting to the death, and then that's hard work. And so then what people do is they go, well, I'll just go over there where it's a bit quieter and people are just trying to play the game and murder them instead. And he got to the point where he couldn't look at himself in the mirror because he was like killing prospectors, that had just taken off from Port Olisar. He killed a struggling new player who was desperately battling the controls of his Avenger Titan, and was even asking in chat, for help. And so he went along and murdered him and stuff. So, it's it makes people dirty on the inside and the outside, and that I think pretty much sums up what he was saying. He just felt like a different person doing this particular challenge.
Yeah. I mean, we've both kind of given up on doing this quest now, for different reasons. We haven't gone around killing new players and prospectors and defenseless little younglings. Our problem came where we actually tried to genuinely fight people at Grimhex, not trading kills. We were actually going in hot, guns blazing. But we had so many problems that it just became a real tiresome endeavour. And I think we both kind of packed it in at around the same time. It was just kind of a large sigh and I'm done. I can't be bothered.
Yeah, too much like hard work. The bugs, it was like a chore. You're not just fighting players. You're fighting your ship. You're fighting the lack of like a HUD.
Lack of frames.
You're fighting lack of frames. Lack of lead pips on ships, and just all sorts of things. And you were just basically flying through space like a lunatic, firing your guns and hoping for the best. It was very rednecky, and I just didn't enjoy it at all.
I think at one point I had no radar, I had no lead pips, I couldn't see any ships anywhere. I was just taking shots on my shields and I just didn't know what was going on. And then I tried to get away from the area, and I had this kind of perpetual radar lock and missile lock warning going off, and it got so annoying. I just couldn't be bothered. I just left it. I'm done. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad idea. I think that they were on the right path. I just think that it kind of it got people engaging and all that kind of stuff. But I just think that it could have been done better. It could have been kind of handled better. And that basically brings us on to our last post for the evening, which is by TBH. And it says, Vandal Helmet Challenge is bad. Benny Hens Challenge is awesome. So for those who don't know, the Vandal challenge, obviously we've just explained, was just a murderathon. But the Benny Henge challenge was really awesome. It was essentially just go and find Benny Henge and get yourself a helmet, or a mask, should I say, which was pretty cool. I mean, we did it. It took us a whole couple of hours, to eventually find it and whatnot.
And
it was hilarious.
A bunch of our community to actually lead us there. Shout out to Warblade and Huttich.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it really did help to have some people who, are good with the numbers. And we did manage to find it, and it was awesome to see. And there was a sense of completion and a sense of kind of I don't know, there was an adrenaline rush for finding it, because it's that exploration which I think everyone wants. And then you kind of look at the other side of that coin, this Vandal challenge, and it's just such a grind fest of murder and underhanded tactics. And it's just, you can kind of see, it's a shame that that Vandal challenge kind of went the way it did, really.
Yeah, you kind of see their intent with it, and I kind of believe that the reason they've done it like this is to gather some combat data and various other information from the PU while the challenge is going on, which is fine. Not really a problem with that. The real problem comes from the fact that combat in the game at the moment is not in a great place, unless you're running some kind of supercomputer. This game tanks frame rates like no one's business. The more people in an area, the frames drop, especially in an area like Grimhex where there's asteroids and other things going on around there. It's just not the best place for this to happen. I mean, really, it's not CIG's fault that this is happening around Grimhex. That's the player's fault. That is the community's fault, because they choose to go there so they don't get the crime stats, which is fair, but it just highlights the problem with the combat in the game at the moment, and it makes me wonder if the people that came up with this challenge actually play the game. Because on the other part of this, they chose probably one of the most broken ships in the game at the moment to do the challenging. And originally you could only do it in the glaive. They finally relented and gave us the gladius as well, because they took a bit of stick from how bad the glaive is at the moment. But that just kind of goes to show you that people coming up with these PR stuff is just not really in touch with the game or the community.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It does feel like you've got a group of people who are basically going, this would be a brilliant idea. They don't run it by anyone else. They just go, yes, let's make this a thing. And then they get the backlash when that thing doesn't work, because they just don't understand their players and they don't understand the state of the game. Especially, like you said, putting it the emphasis on one ship, and that one ship happens to be one of the worst ships in the game currently for all of its bugs and whatnots. It's mental, utterly mental. As I was sort of touching on earlier, there's a couple of good things that came out of this, which was that if you ever pay attention to chat, I don't, very very rarely do I, but you can see it when you've got events like this. There's a lot more communication between people, even if they're just having at each other in chat, I'm gonna come for you, whatever. It's nice to see some interaction. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's 7 of us here. If we'll kill each other one by one. So, it's very sad. It did get some more interaction between people, and it also kind of gave us a good idea of just how bad combat is. Because I think we've all had the odd bit of combat here and there, but very rarely do you enter into a scenario where there's a bunch of ships and they're all different people, not necessarily one big group of people. They're all individual people with individual goals, and you're all fighting your own different ways, and it's a shambles. It ends up being either a joustathon, and there's no way out of it. Once you get into a joust, it's like being stuck on the rim of a black hole. it is inevitable, you know, what's going to happen. And it's very frustrating way to fight. Or you can try and be smart and be clever, but if you try and do like maneuvers, they'll just go, oh, there's someone else over there who's not trying to maneuver, and they'll go over there instead and do the easy. You know, it's just like, you can't win. You can't win. So it highlighted just how kind of flawed I think the combat is at the minute.
Yeah. I think there's a bunch of other things they could have done event-wise for things like this, and I really hope they kind of revisit the idea, but maybe put a bit more thought into it, and vary the challenges a bit. This guy's got TBH has got some good suggestions there. Well, 2 of them are pretty good. The other one's probably a big no.
Yeah.
As for the Benny Hens challenge, I wouldn't say it's great. I'd say it's marginally better than the Vandal kill challenge. Finding Benny Hens is just a real pain in the arse, which is not really a bad thing, I suppose. It's basically the only part of exploration in the game. Because there aren't really that many places to go and find in the game, but you know, this is one, and trying to track it down is, you know, when like you said, once you find the place, that kind of sense of achievement is actually quite good, and you get a helmet for it, so it's okay. Yeah, it's just I personally find it a bit odd that the whole theme of these challenges was Halloween. I don't really understand what Benny Henge has to do with Halloween. No, for a start. You know, they did put one of the machines had fallen over and killed someone, but still not really Halloween, is it? Really? No, and let's face it. I mean, maybe just one pumpkin would have done. Could they not have just got the art department to make one prop pumpkin and put it there just to say, honestly, Halloween. Honestly. It's very strange. Yeah, there was very no strange. Kind of odd, but you know, as for the challenge, it's okay. It's not the best, but no, it was more enjoyable for us than trying to fight all the bugs. God, yeah. And I tell you how I would have fixed it. This is what I would have done with the Benny Hens challenge. So you have a mission giver in somewhere, be it Grimhex, be it Lawville somewhere, and they say, you know, they give you a quest to go to some bunker somewhere, and in that bunker is some more information, and you basically have to look around. So you have to go to an old abandoned bunker, look around, find a piece of paper, and it says, oh, you know, I heard rumor of this, and then you go to another place and do like a little breadcrumb hunt for you know, a couple of places, and then they give you the actual coordinates to Benny Henge, so you don't have to do this stupid, oh well, it's 575 from here and 64 from here. That is just very annoying. Good, because obviously it's teaching people how to navigate, but I just think that would have been a more explorative way of doing it, you know? Yeah. I mean, following coordinates is fine if those coordinates were in game. The problem with the Benny Henge thing is that you have to look at some video on YouTube just to find out where you're going. Otherwise, you'd never find it. Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of cool because you're taking the knowledge of people who've gone before you, which is obviously the very essence of exploration. You know, you feed off of other people's explorations, but that's externally outside of the game. Yeah, exactly. and that's where it falls over. I think if they could have just given you some nudges and hints in the game, I think they would just make it such a better challenge. Okay, so there you have it, folks. That is all the posts for this week. We hope you liked them. We hope you found them informative or amusing. And if you did like them, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Star Citizen content. And don't forget to get in that comment section, let us know your opinions on these posts, and let us know if any of you managed to actually finish these challenges. And don't forget to get in our Discord, come and say hey. We always love to talk to you guys. But that is pretty much it. So thanks very, very much for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.